y'all, welcome back. I'm Beth. Today we are bridging July and August, doing a plan with me for the 29th of July through the 4th of August. Let's go ahead and look back at last week because I didn't film my plan with me last week. If you watched my August plan with me, you may know that I've been a little down. My mental health has not been great. We're going to look back a couple of weeks because 2 weeks ago, I did a plan with me and for the first time moved my weekly ritual into this space, and I really like having it there. So I had my office work-related things that I had to do here, my weather up at the top. I put in some notes of things that were going on, and then I did my weekly ritual down here. And so I kind of set it up the same way for last week. Just completed my weekly ritual a few minutes ago so that I'm ready to film this and know what I'm looking forward to. We're going to go ahead and keep this down here, and then we'll look at the daily pages when we get there. But let's go ahead and get set up. I'm going to do a couple of things, just a hair different, but not a whole lot. I'm also going to keep the color to a minimum. Again, if you missed the August plan with me, we have the mint door, so we're changing color palettes from this dark orange and burnt orange colors into this minty eucalyptus vibe, which I really like, but I'm also getting a little worn out of all of the color. So I have the kit. You're welcome to go download it. Go check out the August plan with me if you want to see that entire Norse summer vibe that I went with for this. But I'm not going to go completely absent of color. This is my accent color. It's an Amazon Basics. I keep checking to see if they're making these again because they were a dupe for the Tombow Dual Brush Pen. I love them, and they're still not making them. They also didn't have a number or a color, so I had just used numbered dots when I swatched them, so I knew what they look like. This is the closest color that I have. I don't have a Tombow that has sort of this minty green color, so we're just gonna go with it. And one of the things I'm gonna do, because I'm not gonna put like the weekly headers that I make in my kit up here, and I'm just gonna give it a little whoosha whoosha. That's a technical term. Ooh, that one ended up a little funky. Yeah, technical term, whoosha whoosha. Here on the dates, just so that they stand out. Like I said, that one ended up a little weird, but that's okay. It'll be fine. We're not going to worry about it. And I might come back and use that down here a little bit, but we're just going to work from the top down. So I'm going to grab my stencil that I keep with me all of the time. It's linked down in the description box if you like the look of this stencil. And our weather this week is, once again, very predictable. So I'm not going to draw, that's not the size circle I used. I'm not going to draw or even write the word sunny next to every day. We are just going to draw this sun out here to the side to indicate that this whole week is an abundance of sunshine. Abundance of heat, abundance of sunshine. This past week, our temperatures have been in the low to mid 80s because of some rain that came through. Highly unusual for Arkansas in July. And several drizzly days. It was just a whole different vibe, but the sun is back. And then I'm going to go ahead and just put my temperatures right up here next to the date headers. And again, I could almost copy and paste them from one day to the next. I don't know how they decide that it's going to be 95 on Monday and 96 on Tuesday. Hey, who makes that determination? What are they looking at to tell you that there's a 1 degree difference? Because we're going up 1 degree, we're going up another degree, and then we're going up another degree. It's just wild. Like, who chooses this? Oh, that's supposed to be a 7. And then we come down a degree. Just say it's going to be 95 all week long and be done with it. I mean, do we care? But then we drop 4 degrees. Ooh, it's hot and sunny, people. That's the answer. Hot and sunny. Oh, back up to 98. Okay. But yeah, like I said, you could almost copy and paste the weather all the way across because it's just going to be Beth weather. That's what it's going to be. Beth weather. If you're new here, I am a Leo. I'm born in mid-August, and I'm very much a sun sign. I like the sun. It's when I tend to have more energy, which is why, being this little bit of a depression situation, my bipolar depression has kicked in. Doesn't typically happen in the summertime. It's typically a winter phenomenon when it does happen. So this has been very different for me. All right, I should have kept that in my hand. I'm going to put a little star over here just while I have the stencil in my hand. I decided up here at the top is where I'm going to put things that I'm looking forward to for that particular day. Though I may add to it as the week goes along. I might find other things that I'm looking forward to. But let's put in some meeting time because I do still have a day job and get some of those put in here. I know that these are ones that are already on the calendar. I need to try to get another meeting on the calendar with some folks to talk about employee appreciation initiatives for the next fiscal year. That's part of what I do as our event manager. Again, I'll just draw a line on my work hours down to 5 o'clock. And I think I talked about it a little bit in my last video that, I don't know, I'm still wary of vertical planning. It's still not a thing that comes to me naturally, but since it's here in the Sterling Ink Common Planner, I've been doing it. Now I could use these pages for something else. There are a lot of ideas out there in terms of showing how these pages can be used differently because the writing or the pre-printed parts of it are so light you really can just write over top of it. It's not that big of a deal. But I don't know. We'll see. Okay. I'm going to turn the book so that I can write. And I'm going to switch over to the fountain pen just because that's a little heavier of a nib. It's like a medium nib instead of a fine nib. So we can indicate that I am in the office on Monday, remote Tuesday, office Wednesday, office Thursday. That got all messy. And remote, I think my ink cartridge is starting to run out. And remote on Friday. That's my normal pattern. It's my normal office times. While I have this in my hand, I'm going to go ahead and when I sketch this in, put this a little low. Oh, we're just going to write it there anyway. We're going to put in a header for things that I'm waiting on. It's a spot for deliveries and that sort of thing. And then I'm going to put in a header for the weekly ritual. And we're going to drag that all the way across. So I can give myself this space down here to do that. Now, a couple of things, because you can probably see it since I can see it. I brought this workday on both ends too tall. So it's from 7 to 6. Just not going to worry about it. I'm just not even going to try to cover it up or fix it. And like I said here, when I was sketching out, this should have been up here. And so it's not perfectly across, and we just don't care. Those are things that I've had to adapt to in the perfectionism part of all of this and say, I'm just not going to let that get to me. And I'm just not. I'm just don't have the mental fortitude to deal with it. So we're going to leave it. All right. So I do have therapy on Monday morning. I'm going to write in therapy, and then I'm going to put a little arrow so that I know how long that bubble goes. And then we have an internal communications meeting on Monday afternoon. I have a peer think tank that we meet every 2 weeks. I skipped the last one. I just didn't feel like going. And then on Thursday, I have an events committee meeting because that's what I do. Oh, and again, I'm going to give myself an hour there. All right. And then I'm going to grab this again and cursive in my lunch times with the small nib since it's a dual tip. Don't know if I'm going to be able to see them. Yeah, no. Okay. We're going to do this. I am still very bad about leaving my desk and properly taking a lunch break, which contributes to my mental health situations. So I need to work on that. I think I say it every week. Need to work on that. All right. Well, now I've written on myself. That's okay too. All right. So that gets the work week taken care of. Work week done. Why did I put this star up here? Well, I put this star up here because there is a new Batman animated series launching on Prime on the 1st called Batman the Caped Crusader. And I am a Batman fan. I want to remind myself that that is taking place on the 1st. Over here on my waiting on list, I'm going to draw in some check boxes. This is going to be for deliveries and things, and I have some coming that I know a delivery date for, and I have some coming that I do not yet have a delivery date for, which is why I chose to put it over here instead of, originally I was going to put like my Amazon deliveries on Monday, my HelloFresh on Tuesday. But since I have some others that haven't shipped yet and I don't have a date yet, I just thought I'd stick them all together and then I can put those dates in when I get them. So I have 2 different Amazon orders that are supposed to arrive on Monday. And of course, I think we all know that, sometimes an Amazon order goes awry anyway. So I am going to separate them. So we've got Amazon 1 and Amazon 2 basically. And it's just random stuff that I needed for the house. And then HelloFresh is on Tuesday. And then I try not to order from places like Temu very often, but I did place an order from Temu and I'm waiting for it to ship. And then I have a Sterling Ink notebook coming. So this is the Sterling Ink Common Planner that's got the calendars and the weeklies and that sort of thing in it. But I ordered a Sterling Ink numbered notebook. So it's just the grid with the numbers because I wanted to see how I liked it. I'm planning on doing some more long form journaling in it. I kind of stepped away from long form journaling for a little bit and I need it back for my mental health more than anything. And I've been sticking in some journaling, like little bits of journaling through my daily pages. But sometimes you need a space that you can just really expand upon those thoughts. And I have fallen in love with the Tomo River paper, which is still the biggest shock in the world to me. And for daily journaling, I think it will be great. So we're going to see. I think I ordered the 200 and something page one, not the 500 and whatever. We'll see when it gets here. Okay. And then in my weekly ritual, I do some reflection. And then I write down the positives for the week, the negatives for the week, and things I may need to do for next week. So that's what these are here. So I've got those symbols in there so that we're ready for the reflection. And I am going to go ahead and put a quote down here at the bottom. I think I'm going to keep it black. So we're going to use a Tombow Fuda no Soke just so I can get a little heavier of a black line. And this one is from George Bernard Shaw. And it says, "Life is about creating yourself." And the full quote actually says, "Life is not about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself." So it contradicts that notion that we have to find ourselves. It gives us more autonomy to create the people that we want to be. So just going to go ahead and get that in here. All right, there we go. And like I said, that is George Bernard Shaw. Okay, and then I am going to put in an August header. I am going to stick this over here. Now for me, when I'm doing a weekly plan and I have very distinctive themes, right? So July was the copper door, August is the mint door. I put the week in whichever one has the most days. So we only have 3 days in July. We have 4 days in August. Therefore, my theme went into the mint theme instead of the July theme. Now, this one fell in such a way that I actually could have done like the left side of the page in orange and the right side of the page in mint. That might have been fun, but my brain doesn't think that way. My brain thinks in terms of it's week 31, and week 31 has 4 days in August. Therefore, week 31 falls in August. That's how it all shakes out for me. Now, once we get past this week, I have some other things lined up in August that I'm going to have. I'll be part of a weekly writing group on every Wednesday in August. August started on a Thursday here, so it doesn't include this Wednesday. And those are other things that if I keep this format, I'll also put up here so that I have room down here for my weekly reflection. It's also, like I said, my birthday is in August, so I'm going to take a little bit of time off and do some things for my birthday. All right, let's go ahead and jump to the back of the book where we can do list 31. Now we're going to peek backwards a little bit because, again, I didn't do a plan with me last week, but I did set up the list. But we're going to look at list 29 because we haven't talked about it since I filled it out or partially filled it out. And then list 31. So this is my setup for July. This is for me to have the last couple of days of July and my daily plans with me. I already did my monthly ritual. I did that today as well. Left myself space for Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. But let's look back at list 29 was list your childhood or current dream jobs. We talked about the fact that I wanted to be a veterinarian until I read All Creatures Great and Small. At one point in time, I wanted to be a solid gold dancer. I was like age 7, and that definitively ages me, but I'm turning 50 this year, so whatever. And I'm still not a good dancer. I don't know where that dream ever came from. If you're not old enough to know what solid gold is, Google it. Look it up on YouTube. At around age 10, I wanted to be a Civil War historian. I was a really weird kid. I'm still really a weird person. I grew up in Kenya, if you're new here, and we would spend 4 years in Kenya and we would come back to the States for a year. And we came back to the States and we were in West Virginia, and I don't know when or how or why the Civil War landed on my radar. But because we were so close to all of those historic spots, my dad indulged my whims, and he took me to Appomattox, and he took me to Gettysburg, and he took me to all of these different battlefields and war sites and all of that sort of thing. Being age 10 and coming from Kenya, from Africa, and being plunked back into the U.S., and we lived in a city where there were very few Black people, I'll be honest. I vividly remember being disturbed by that. And I think that's where that whole delving into that history came from. Anyway, and then I wanted to be an Egyptologist for a while. In high school, I wanted to be a safari guide. I just wanted to stay in Kenya for the rest of my life. I probably should have just done that. I wanted to be a news writer at one point. I wanted to be a travel writer at one point. I wanted to be a travel agent at one point, and I was. I actually did become a travel agent for a while. So yeah, so lots of different things. As far as current dream jobs go, again, I'm 50. I'm not thinking about some lofty career change at this point. Not that you can't change your life at 50. You absolutely can. People go back to university and totally deviate their lives in their 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. And then last week, when I didn't film, was list the qualities you admire most in others. And my list was discipline, kindness, optimism, honesty, loyalty, accountability, integrity, generosity, understanding, sense of humor, strength, compassion, and grit. That's what I put. Action for the week was choose one of these qualities to focus on this week. Make it a goal each day to act out the quality that most inspires you. I don't know that I necessarily did that, except for the fact that some of my core values fall into things like integrity and honesty, So I try to live that way anyway. Okay, back to list 31. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, our lists come from the 52 Lists project. And there's list 30. List 31 List the words that define your personality. Go through your list and see if there are any negative sounding words that you could change to be more positive. For example, bossy can have a negative connotation. How about changing that to strong-willed or in charge? You're a boss in the best sense. So list the words that define your personality. All right, there we go. I think I'm going to draw a straight line underneath that. I probably have some ideas. My friends tend to describe me as strong because they've seen me go through it. And again, living with mental illness is not the easiest thing on the planet, and yet I do it. And I have a hiccup every now and then, but for the most part, I have lived with this successfully and managed it successfully. So they always like to use the word strong. Funny is another one I get. Do you think I have a decent sense of humor? But my youngest child is legitimately one of the funniest humans on the planet for me. And so there's always a comparison there because he's just hysterical. He has the most quick-witted humor of anyone I've ever known. So there we go. We have list 31. I still haven't done what I'm working on, want to be working on for the month. I am going to kind of wait until these last few days wrap up. And then I'll start daily logging for August here. Like I said, I've left myself a space for a couple of days here. So that is our plan with me for this coming week so that we can wrap up July and move into my birth month and have a really great August, hopefully. I've had a little bit more energy yesterday and today, so maybe the new medication and stuff that I'm on is making a change. Still too early to tell, but hopefully we're on the upswing. If you like this video, y'all, you know what to do. Give it a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one.